You are listening to the Postcast presented by the Glebe Central Pub. I'm your host, Brandon Piller, joined by Jack Richardson. Go check out the Glebe Central Pub, guys. It's our pub in the heart of our nation's capital, 779 Bank Street. You know, anytime we're there, we're going to the GCP. And sure, the Ottawa Senators might be on the road now, but get prepared for when they're back home. Go to the Glebe Central Pub website. They got shuttles for all the December home games, so you don't want to miss that. So go to glebecentralpub.com for more. Guys, the road trip to California and November typically are two scary word combinations, but not this year, not this time. And another scary combination is when it's a Pillsy and Jack postcast. Usually that means we're covering a loss. Jack, not this time. I said before the game started, why don't we have ourselves a vibecast tonight? Why not, right? And look at us, a 3-2 win over the San Jose Sharks.
We're reversing every trend here, Pillsy. This month, the November curse, I'm not saying it's over. There's still a few games to go here, but completely different. You and I on the postcast, for those who don't know, you and I have the worst record collectively of the four of us combinations by a mile. I think our win percentage is like 300 or something. Like a 310 win percentage is terrible, but that's going up because we're 1-0 this season, Pillsy. What a win, too, we get to talk about. That was the second half, especially of that game, was just so good from the Sens. Some of the best they've looked all season. Dominant on the puck, hounding everything in the offensive zone. Linus Ullmark getting bored on the other end. That's probably what was happening. It's that kind of game, and the big boys come through again. Tim Stützle, third period goal to win the game again. How many times have we said that this season? Just what a win by the Sens. And I was saying this to Ross the other night, Pillsy, after the Ducks game, late night. You know, you circle those two games, the Ducks and the Sharks on this road trip. At the beginning of the season, probably say, look, those are the ones you got to win. You got to win those ones. But now with how those teams have started this season, they're young, they're fun. These are two huge wins for the Sens to start this road trip. All of a sudden, getting a lot of momentum by beating two pretty good teams.
Yeah, and it's a great way to start, especially 3-2 wins in both of them. Anaheim, arguably the toughest test of the Cali road trip. They finished that one off, and then they find a way to get this one done. The San Jose Sharks took the lead a couple times. Why don't we start with the first time, Jack? But this one wasn't the real one because it gets called back on an offside, but this was very important that goal got called back because Macklin Celebrini and Will Smith caught the Sens snoozing. Like, as soon as Celebrini touches that puck, it's like he's got rockets on the back of his skates. He's so fast. He ends up flubbing it a little, but then just backhand, no look pass right out front to Will Smith, and he buries it. And I always say this, you can tell by players' initial reactions what they feel. Not a big selly from Will Smith. Just like, okay, nice. And I was like, oh, like that was a sick goal. You'd think a young guy like that would be selling more. And then sure enough, Sens video coach Mike King, absolute legend. His success rate is so incredible. That was the quickest turnaround on a goal call I think I've ever seen.
It was so fast. I love, too, that the Sens released a video a few days ago behind the scenes of the way the video staff works. And I'm blanking on the other coach's name right now, but he's the wizard. He's the one looking on the computer, checking every play. I'm really blanking on his name. Maybe the chat can help us out here. But credit to both of them because I love that, immediately after that video releases the next game, right away, they need them. So, yeah, that's huge. Just a chance for them to kind of catch their wits about them. RIP to Claude Giroux's stick for breaking for no reason. I love that because clearly, I mean, he lost his guy in front. He was the one who kind of got fooled there. But yeah, and then, quite honestly, I know maybe they had a couple points after that, Celebrini and Smith on the power play goal after, but they were pretty quiet other than that. Like they had some rushes, some chances, but the Sens did a great job all night of really limiting those two specifically.
I mean, the whole team was quiet, Jack, for the San Jose Sharks.
Yeah.
I mentioned on Friday's episode, the San Jose Sharks are dead last in the league in shots for per game at like 24.1 shots per game or something. They didn't even get that. They got 19 shots in this game. And especially for most of the third period until the Sharks pulled the goalie and really pressed at the end, they weren't getting any shots. Like Allmark was falling asleep back there, even though it was an afternoon game, local time. Like they weren't mustering up much. So you got to give the Sens credit here as they're able to really turn things around after that disallowed goal. And you saw Timmy set up a really nice play for Cousins on the power play. Let's talk about Dylan Cousins for a second. I mean, sure, you want to talk about this guy scoring goals on the power play, and maybe you'd like a little more uneven strength, but mean, if you're gonna do it, like there's nothing wrong with that. And that's a really nice play by Timmy because that was a set play that Cousins gets all of, and he actually redirects it through the Sharks defender's legs. So Nelkovic doesn't really have much of a chance there.
That top power play unit needed a goal. They needed one badly. It had been a very cold streak. I think the Pinto goal in Anaheim kind of broke the slump of the power play, but the top unit hadn't done anything, and they needed that one. It was Sanderson down to Stützle. Even Sanderson drawing that penalty in the first place, he was such a dog tonight. Sanderson was so good, and makes a nice setup on Timmy's goal. We'll get into him later too on the game winner for those two. But yeah, a nice little tip play to Cousins, and like he's one of those guys on that power play where if it's not going, and that's kind of where his offensive production comes from for the most part. But again, he was great at 5-on-5 tonight too. I thought Dylan Cousins was. So it's good to see that top unit get one. It was a bit of an unconventional one, even though it was a nice play. But yeah, right away, right out the gates too, starting with a power play goal. Again, going back to our postcast on Thursday, Ross asked me, if you had to ask for one thing you want to see on Saturday, what is it? And I said a top unit power play goal. And we got it within the first 5 minutes. That was perfect. Great start to this one for the Sens for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And just quickly, just so we get their names right, Michael King, the video coach, and then the assistant video coach, Josh Mallory. So those are the two guys.
Shout out Josh Mallory. Yeah.
Cooking it up back there, making sure that they're getting these calls right. So excellent job by them. Jack, your wish for the next game was a power play goal by the top unit. Well, my wish for this game came true as well. I'll tell you what that was after a quick word from some of our sponsors. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Monarch. Guys, in this economy, you got to be making sure you're doing the most with your money. And most of us can't name all of our financial accounts, let alone what they're worth. Between 401ks, savings, investments, it's easy to lose track. And that can mean leaving money on the table. That's why I started using Monarch, an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or on your phone. It's helped me organize my accounts, track my spending, and get a better handle on my investments without ever having to touch a spreadsheet. I love that I can review everything with my partner, see our shared goals, and make financial decisions together. Monarch's visual dashboards and smart tools make it so much easier to understand where my money's going and how to make it work harder for me. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarch.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarch.com, code LOCKEDONNHL for half off your first year. And of course, you guys know the postcast always brought to you by our good friends over at the Glebe Central Pub. Go check them out at 779 Bank Street in the heart of the Glebe. They got great food, great drinks, great service, and the vibes are always high, especially, obviously, it's great when the Sens are playing at home. You can take the shuttle to and from the pub, but on the road, be with other Sens fans, watch the games there, and it's not just hockey. They got live music, trivia, wing night, taco night, anything that you need, you can find it at the GCP. And I mentioned they're not home for a while. Next home game is Thursday, December 4th, but go to the website, get your tickets for the shuttle. Only $18 round trip. You can't beat that. Sue gets you to the game. Don't worry about not having drinks. Don't worry about parking. Don't worry about traffic. Don't worry, hey, I don't have my snow tires on. It's a snowstorm. Forget all that. Let GCP Sue take care of it. Go to the website and check out the Glebe Central Pub shuttle. Guys, the vibes are free at the GCP. All right, guys, we're back here in the postcast. I'm Brandon Piller, joined by Jack Richardson. We got a boots on the ground report coming from San Jose. Our guy AJ is going to join us in just a little while. I'm sending him a link right now as we speak, producing on the fly. I'm learning how to click the buttons, Jack.
I was going to say, Pillsy, you're cooking. You're cooking right now. This is a good start here. Let's go.
Yeah, good start. That's the key. Yeah. But before the break, I did a little tease what my wish was for this game. And oh my God, did I ever get it. I wanted to see Fabian Zetterland score a goal up against his old San Jose Sharks team. And he teased us for a little bit because he hit the post. He had a couple really good chances. But then that goal he scored, you could tell he put some oomph on that one. Top shelf, clean wrister, and the celly was just a smack of the stick up against the glass by the cameraman. Kind of a weird one, but hey, when you get a goal like that, you just do the first thing that comes to mind. Like when Zetterland was winding up for that wrist shot, Jack, were you confident that he was going to get all of that, or were you kind of thinking, oh man, is he just going to rip one off the post again here?
Respectfully to Fabian Zetterland, no chance I was confident that was going in. This guy's been so snake-bitten. Yeah. His the book on him since he's been in Ottawa is that he can't score with all the chances he gets. But, I thought about this a little bit, especially leading up to this game, revenge game for Fabian Zetterland against the team that traded him away to the Ottawa Senators and the San Jose Sharks. You don't know how things went down, why he was traded, why they decided to, because he kind of would still fit in with that group, but the contract the Sens gave him probably would have gotten that in San Jose. Bit of a weird one why they wanted to move him so abruptly at the deadline. Maybe there was something there. Maybe there's a bit of a chip on his shoulder for that one too. Maybe it took him some time to get over it, whatever it is, but that has to feel good for Fabian Zetterland. Doesn't matter how many he had this season coming in. He could have had 20 goals already. Even though it's the second of the year, that's a statement. That's a statement. And it's a perfect goal for the Sens to get because they're down one. They're pushing. They can't buy one. And then Zetterland cashes in. That's what he was brought in to do. And we can just hope that he can find a few more of those this season because he doesn't need to go on a 5-game goal streak. It'd be nice. Don't get me wrong. But this team's proven that they have the ability to score up and down the lineup. He's just got to be able to prove that he can chip in a bit more often than he has been. And I thought he was great all night. I thought the second period specifically, he was a monster all over the puck.
Yeah, and those are the kind of goals we know Zetterland can score. He just hasn't been having the puck luck. Let's hear from our guy, AJ, who had boots on the ground to get his reaction as we bring in. Oh, let's see if I can do it here. There we go. There's AJ. Boys. How's it going, man?
Hey, Pilsy. Feeling great. Oh, my goodness. I'm buzzing after that.
Yeah, I mean, pretty hard not to be. What was your reaction when you saw Fabian Zetterland coming down the ice with that puck?
It kind of felt like every other, Fabian Zetterland moment, right? Where he comes down the wing with speed and he gets into that position and you kind of think, is it going to happen this time? And it usually doesn't, but I don't know. Today, maybe today was different. Maybe he had the chip in his shoulder. I don't know what, but that was beautiful. That was incredible.
Just so nice. AJ, what'd you see in the building there? That was a fast-paced game. That was a fun one to watch. Pilsy and I haven't even talked about it, but that was a high-pace, physical, in your face, a lot of penalties. What'd you think in the rink? What was the energy like?
Yeah, I think you summed it up pretty well. It was a great game of hockey to watch, honestly. As far as the energy in the rink goes, you got to give credit to the Sharks fans. They actually filled that barn tonight. They were loud. When the go-ahead goal for San Jose went in, my goodness, they make that place go. They light that place up. But I guess more power to us that we managed to silence that crowd, right?
There we go. And speaking of silencing that crowd, what was the representation from other Sens fans there? Was there a lot of friendly faces around, a lot of guys in good jerseys?
Well, given that, we're across the continent from home, Spezza jersey, the Alfie SNES jersey.
Nice.
There's some good stuff down there, but you know what? There could be a few more of us, but a few fist bumps in the concourse after the game. Good stuff. Always good to see Sens fans.
Oh yeah, you love to see it. So AJ, who was your Sens Central standout for tonight's game?
You know what? If I'm trying to be objective here, I have to go with Timmy Stützle. Incredible game. He's really growing into that 1C that we drafted and developed him to be. He's undeniable at this point, but my heart says Fabian Zetterland, right? I think he plays the right way. He's taken a lot of flack from around the Sens fan base, but also just around the league for not finishing. But I think give the guys flowers. I think one had to go in for him eventually, and the fact that it went in against his old team, I think that's perfect. And I really hope that this is the start of something good for him.
Yeah, so good. So have you been in the San Jose area for a while? Like, do you get to see the Sens every time they're there, or is this the first time for you?
This is the first time for me, honestly. I'm on a work placement. I'm an engineering student out in Ontario, so
Cool.
I'm only here for a few months, but schedules seem to align. I got me and a couple buddies down here. We're actually here for a post game meal at San Jose's finest, Shawarma G.
No way.
Nice.
Little taste of home,
Not bad, eh? Going from Ontario in November to California for a placement. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's great. That's awesome. You got to see that game. I love hearing fans that are just on a trip getting to see this. We were talking about the California trip is underrated. You get to see a lot of good teams now, especially. Just last question from me, AJ. What'd you make of the Sharks? I know I asked about the energy in the rink, but it looks like a fun team, and I think one that we'll look at on the schedule and say that's a big win for the Sens.
Yeah, honestly, give them credit. I think there's a moment there. I think late in the first, they kind of had us against the ropes. I was a little nervous there. Eklund, Celebrini, Will Smith, those guys, just incredible. And to keep them quiet from the second period on orders, which is just a great job. Just a professional job, which we haven't seen from the Sens until about last year. But now they're putting up these performances on a night-to-night basis, and I think that's just exactly what we asked for about 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's awesome to see, and it's awesome to have you join us. Boots on the ground, AJ. Thanks a lot, and go celebrate that win with some tasty shawarma.
Love it, boys. Thanks for having me.
All right, see you, AJ. There goes AJ. What an absolute beauty. Nothing better than seeing Sens fans represent on the road, and I love, in San Jose, California, getting the shawarma after. There can't be that many shawarma options down there. I mean, I've never been, but
yeah, I don't know if that's what they're known for out there. I would think more like sushi or something. I don't know. I don't even know if it's on the water, to be honest, Pillsy. I'm not a geography guy. Maybe we got to make a California trip. LOSP Cali trip would be fun. Long way to go, but maybe that's for next season. We'll see. But yeah, that was great. I love the boots on the ground reports. For the away games. They're awesome.
So good. Yeah. And it's awesome having 400 people here in the chat. I mean, when it's a Sens win and you can celebrate, and it's not a late night Sens win on the West Coast, that's a rare one. You love to see that Saturday night in hockey. So they give it the Eastern time zone preference here, 4:00 local time in San Jose. But you start off with a win against the Ducks, then you get a win against the San Jose Sharks. Up next, the LA Kings. They shut out the Sens in the first meeting this year. We'll see if Anton Forsberg gets to start again. But I think let's stick on the goaltending, Jack. What did you think of Ullmark's game tonight?
Calm, cool, and collected, Pills. Yeah, I really liked what I saw from Ullmark. I don't know what the percentage ended up being, probably over 900, just based on the flurry at the end there.
895.
No way. Okay, so a streak
close.
Of 900 ends, but obviously if you're getting 895 like that from Ullmark, I'll take that every day of the week. That's unfortunate, but I thought he was great. I really liked his rebound control tonight. Yep. I'm becoming a goalie analyst, just game by game, looking at Ullmark, because it's the goalie friendly show. And you know me, Pilsy, I'm the anti goalie guy. If there's anyone, I'm just the guy saying stop the puck. But I'm really seeing with Ullmark, he's doing a better job of, if there's a high shot on him, he had a couple where he just, catches it, freezes, doesn't move. He's got better control over those. That really just slowed the play down, let the boys kind of recollect themselves a little bit. Didn't need to make big saves. But I think, again, that reverse goal right off the top was probably good for him too, because that's not a good way to start the game if you're a player, and definitely not if you're a goalie. So I've really liked what I've seen from Ullmark. I would like to see Levy on Monday.
Yep, agreed.
Just to give him more reps, keep him going. They've been in a good groove, the two of them lately, since they started flipping the crease. They've both been great. So I'd like to see Levy on Monday, but we'll see what they end up doing. But yeah, no problems with Ullmark's game for me tonight.
Yeah, he's been solid as of late. I thought his biggest save of the night was in the second period. Kurashev and Celebrini had a 2-on-1. Kurashev got it over to Celebrini, and Ullmark kind of had to dive over and get that shoulder on it. And not only did he make the save, but like you said, calm and able to take care of that rebound without it being a big issue. So, yeah, it's great to see Ullmark really rounding into form here when the team needs it most.
He did have a big one right at the end of the game too that I should not.
Yes, that
you
was
know,
huge.
it didn't end up being like one he needed to sprawl for, but he was in position, made the nice save, froze it, face off. And the reason face offs are so important. Let's transition into this a little bit here, Pilsy.
Yeah.
Getting a whistle on the Senators is important because this is the best face off team in the league. Claude Giroux, I think, went 81% tonight in the face off dot. He was a machine. So getting a whistle, letting the boys win a draw is the strategy. So when he's able to do that, it benefits the team. Obviously, they're battling every single face-off. It's great to watch.
Yeah, we'll dive into that. I have a feeling Sin Central standouts might include some face-off stats. Let's just keep it at that. AJ had Zetterland. We'll see who I choose and who Jack chooses for our Sin Central standouts right after this quick break. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. You guys know FanDuel is the official online sportsbook of the Locked On Podcast Network. And if you want to get into NBA action, there's no better place to get in on that action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of the game or you want to ride that hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who's going to score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. Keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that push or you're following your team on the road, and maybe you can cash in on some power play goals, some Zetterland goals, some prop bets, a parlay, whatever you want. FanDuel has it, and right now new customers is going to get $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com, sign up, play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, guys, a vibe cast here on the Locked On Senators podcast, postcast. I'm Brandon Piller, joined by Jack Richardson. A 3-2 win for the Ottawa Senators over the San Jose Sharks. We're going to hit our Sen Central standouts. We're going to hit some of the starred comments, and we'll get some shout outs near the end of this episode. But Jack, as our guest and co-host, I will give you the first Sen Central standout. AJ took Zetterland, so he's off the board. I think there's a pretty obvious one here that AJ mentioned, and I'm sure you'll go that way, but it's your choice. Go for it.
I think I'm going to veer away from who we're talking about only because I feel like every time I do a Sen Central standout, I'm doing the German. So I'm going to go away from that. I'm going to leave Timmy to you. Maybe we can go around twice. I think it's honestly hard to pick. There's been a lot of
let's go twice.
We'll go twice. I'm going to go with Jake Sanderson. I'll go with the next superstar up. We've given a lot of love to Timmy stepping up with Kachuk's injury. I think Jake Sanderson was a monster tonight. He was so good. I tweeted out a little bit, Pillsy, the way that him and Pinto and that whole shutdown unit has evolved into being able to play offense while they're against the top unit or the top competition every night is just unbelievable this season. And Sanderson was a machine. We didn't even talk about Timmy's game-winning goal yet. That's a great stretch pass he makes up to Batherson. Doesn't get an assist on it, but I just thought Sanderson was all over the ice tonight. His puck touches were great. And he maybe had a bit of a slower start to the season offensively, just with the puck on his stick, I think. But he's really just rounded into form, and I think he's just starting to take off. He's I don't know where he's at in the scoring race for defenseman, but he'll definitely be a bit higher up in Norris consideration this season if he plays like that. Absolutely. He was so good tonight.
Yep. Team high, 25 minutes, 46 seconds for Sandy. Had an assist, and probably his biggest play of the game, his stick snaps, and then he tries to kick it, but he ends up kicking it to a Sharks player, and that leads to an odd-man break. But you talk about the skating from Jake Sanderson. He can always bail himself out of trouble. He skates back down the ice. Kurashev is like, oh, I got this guy beat. He's got no stick. I got a leg up on him. And Sandy says, hey, I might be just as fast as you, but I don't need a stick to take you down. He just bullies Kurashev and shoves him into the corner.
Man strength.
Absolutely. Well, we've seen Sandy got jacked this summer. So he used some of that power, and Khrushchev was pissed, and the ref called a penalty. And initially, Jack, I was like, oh man, they're going to give Sandy a penalty for that. Like, that's just playing the body hard without a stick. But no, that penalty was on Khrushchev for retaliating and roughing on Sanderson. And that's what you want to see from your top defenseman. So I like that one, Jack. That's a good call, Sandy. Let us know in the chat who your Sens Central standouts are. All right. If Jack's going to pass up on Timmy, I got no shame. I'm going with Tim Stützle here. This guy is an absolute beast. A goal and an assist. We already talked about him setting up that Cousins goal, and he was all over the stat sheet. Led Ottawa Senators forwards in ice time. Classic Timmy. 22 minutes, 16 seconds, 29 shifts total, 4 shots, 1 block, 6 hits for Tinted Timmy. He's an absolute animal out there. And of course, he gets the game-winning goal. Let's talk about that game-winning goal, Jack, because it's a 2-on-1 set up by your guy, Jake Sanderson. A nice stretch pass. He notices that 2 Sens players are behind the Sharks defense, and then it's Batherson and Cousins. Batherson has it, passes it over to poor Cuz. And Nick Cousins, you got to shout out the confidence here. If I'm a guy that's in Nick Cousins' position and I got Batherson with me, I'm probably doing my best to get that back to Batherson on a chance like that. But Cousins is like, nah, I've got a couple tricks up my sleeve. He goes for the backhand deke and he beats Nedeljkovic, but that puck is sitting on the line. Jack, I don't know about you, but I was like jumped out off the couch and was like, come on, it's right there. And who but Timmy is like, I'm not giving up on this play. I think he comes from the bench, honestly. I'd have to double check. And he just barrels in, crashes the net, and pokes that one in for the game winner. Like, that's not a standard Timmy superstar goal, but it's the game winner.
It's not a flashy goal by Timmy, but that's a go to the net, do what you're told. That's what you learn when you're a kid playing hockey, is go to the net with your stick on the ice. Perfect third layer of support from Stützle. He's so smart. Like, he's in the right spots all the time. There was a couple shifts, Pillsy, he had in the second period where he just kept hounding the puck. And it was one of those ones that it kept hitting his stick. He kept getting possession of it. It kept causing turnovers. He's a machine. He's like a vacuum out there. And yeah, I love the games. And the broadcast did it again, where they said he's not he's not a very physical guy that often. I think right at the beginning of the game, he knocked Celebrini down.
Yeah.
It always seems to happen on primetime hockey and in Hockey Night in Canada, where Stützle gets this rep of not being physical, then goes out and gets 6 or 10 hits. And then we're not even batting an eye because that's the way this guy plays. He's a machine. And I just think he's going to keep taking off, man. Like I keep going back to the postcast on Thursday, but that was a great game from Timmy as well, but no points. And you're sitting there being, it'd be nice if he got on the score sheet, even though he played great. Tonight, same thing, but he gets 2 points. It's just that kind of season for Stützle. He's been just so good, really emerging as a star without Tkachuk in the lineup.
Yeah, it's awesome to see. We'll do it snake style here with the Sens Central standouts, because you guys know I'm obsessed with face-off stats. So I got to give my second Sens Central standout to Claude Giroux. Now, you may be thinking, Pillsy, Claude Giroux had no goals, no assists, 1 shot on goal, no hits, no blocks. What are we talking about here? You should know what I'm talking about with Claude Giroux, because this guy was an animal in the face-off dot. He took 21 draws total. And of those 21, he snapped back 17 of them. Good for 81%. Jack, the San Jose Sharks as a team only won 21 draws. And Claude Giroux was dominant when it came to the neutral zone. He's 2 for 2. In the offensive zone, 6 for 8. Defensive zone, 9 for 11. Like, this guy is such an asset to have. I know maybe Sens fans are thinking, he kind of slowed down. He can't be playing in the top 6 anymore. That's fine. He's found a perfect home on that third line with Amadio and Pinto. That line is incredible. And he still snaps it back with the best of them. And if it's not for Claude Giroux winning draws, like at the end of the game, the San Jose Sharks were really pouring on. The Sens iced the puck. Then they iced it again. Then they iced it again. And then they iced it another time. But I'm pretty sure every single one of those draws, Claude Giroux got the win, and it keeps them out of danger, at least limits the danger. So I got to give some love to my guy, Claude, here.
Can't ice it if you don't have the puck. And they're getting the puck because he's winning those faceoffs. Yeah, he was a machine again. And he had a couple looks too. Just some nice plays in the second period by the Sharks to break it up. He looked good. All right, I'm going with Dylan Cousins for my next pick. Can't believe we went this long without talking about him. I thought Cousins was at his best, specifically when the rest of the team maybe wasn't. Not that they were playing poorly at any time in this game, but when it was kind of maybe a back and forth game, I thought every time Cousins was on the ice, it was all Sens. It was always on his stick. Had a couple nice looks, set up Zetterland for that look on the post after his goal in the first period for Cousins. And I just think he was a machine, and he's got 6 points in his last 6 games all of a sudden here. And we're looking at another guy who is finding his groove here. And every time we talk about Dylan Cousins, we're going to have to talk about Josh Norris just in the big picture. And I can't help but watch this team and how they're doing in November and not point to Norris being the reason that they were failing in November's past. But a lot of time he was injured and they weren't able to find their groove. Pinto would get hurt too. But how nice has it been for these 20 games, is it now, or 21 games, 22 games, to watch all 3 centermen hop over the boards 95% of the time at even strength. It's just an automatic, you have a good matchup when you got all 3 of those guys slotted properly. And then any given night, it can be one of them having a big night. It could be Pinto next game in LA, and Cousins is a bit quieter. But as long as they're all kind of having games here and there, this is going to be a really good team and really hard to beat. And they're proving it. And Dylan Cousins is a huge reason why. He's just getting more comfortable every night.
Yeah, I'm a big Dylan Cousins guy. And this team's roster is shaped around the centerman, like Tim Stützle, whoever the second line center is, whether it was Norris, Cousins, and then having Pinto as a third line center. Like, that's how this team was built to win and to be successful. And yeah, when Norris and or Pinto was out, it just threw this team off completely. So having those guys all healthy is absolutely massive. So I like that call, Jack. Let's get to some of the starred comments here. Our good friend Sens in Van. So happy for Zeddy. Plays so hard. Well deserved. I mean, Jack, I think all of us on the Locked On Senators podcast, maybe not Martian. Martian has declared he was out on Zetterland, but we all are like, man, he plays hard. He's good away from the puck. He's just not bearing his chances. So for him to get that goal tonight in that fashion was so huge for his morale.
Especially because it wasn't a bounce. Like, it didn't deflect off anything. He ripped that. That was a goal scorer's goal. I think with Zetterland, man, like, yeah, I'd like the production to be there. But when you start looking at his salary and what they paid him, and then I think his expectations were just so high because he was this goal scoring winger who's, got all this speed where, like, he's got to play with Timmy. He's got to play with Timmy. In a way, though, like, he's kind of perfectly slotted, right? Just middle 6 winger who can play on the power play, get you some points here and there. And he's doing well at that. And I said this the other day, at the very least, he's an easy upgrade on whatever they had on the wings in that spot last year. Definitely. Like David Perron was struggling a lot last year at this time. So he's an upgrade, and he's been all right. And it's so early in the season that he could get hot here in December, and all of a sudden we're looking back and laughing at this stretch. So hopefully that is the case, but that was just a perfect goal. Great one for him to get, especially after hitting the post, because he gets these chances sometimes and then it's over and he doesn't get more if he doesn't score. So that was great to see.
Yeah, and that's another reason why I kind of point to, like, look, the Sens are in a good spot right now because you're expecting a lot more production from Zetterland. So if he starts to heat up and give you that production, you get Tkachuk back. The goalies are not at the bottom of the league anymore. They're playing with much more confidence and keeping this team in games. And if the penalty kill gets better and the power play finds its way, like, if everything just kind of rises to where it's supposed to be and not below average, like some of those attributes have been, this team's going to be in a good spot, so I'm stoked for that. At Dermot Riley Music, thanks, buddy. We appreciate it. A Pillsy Jack Vibecast? ? Yeah, surprising for everyone. He says he's headed to Ottawa from Hamilton in March for the Ducks Sharks back-to-back, and what a preview this has been. I mean, yeah, if it's anything like it's been on the road, you hope that they can pull it off at home as well. So we thank you for that one, buddy. Much appreciated. And then Sens fan and Van again, our guys. Timmy's grin on that game-winning goal needs to be on a Christmas card. Pure joy. Yeah, he was just laughing it up, and he kind of had this fall and stumble after. Like, Timmy just has a good time when things are going well, and he plays hard, so he deserves to have a good smile. So maybe Sens admin. instead of the gift that Martian really dislikes, maybe after a win, get a Christmas card of Timmy's smile there. I love that. And then we got to give a birthday shout out to Christina. Happy birthday, Christina. I've seen it in the chat. I was going to get to it. Don't worry, Matt. I was going to get to it. Happy birthday, Christina. You get a dub from the Ottawa Senators. Jack, what are your thoughts? Final thoughts from, or not final thoughts yet. What are your overall thoughts from this game? How did you feel it played out, and where does it have your confidence level in the Sens moving forward?
Pilsy, sometimes when you and I get in these postcasts, the two of us, I start going big picture. I start thinking that something about this game, the way they played, like they're legit, man. They're legit. This is all without Brady Tkachuk. I keep, you have to pinch yourself mid-game sometimes when they're getting on these stretches. They're doing this without their best player on a lot of nights, right? Tkachuk is that guy, and he started this season so hot with 3 assists in Tampa in that one game. Like, I don't know how quickly it's going to mesh when he comes back. It's going to mix up some things, rightfully so. But how much better could this have gone with him out of the lineup? Because flashback to a month ago, it was not this positive, right? It was like, oh boy, here we go. Like the goaltending's bad. They have that loss in Buffalo, and then you're without the captain for 6 weeks, and here we are. He's probably going to miss 1 more or 2 more games, and that's it. It's just crazy that they're doing this without the captain. This is you know what it does, Pilsy? It feels like pesky Sens vibes from 2013. But the difference is that this team is supposed to be good. They're supposed to be kind of a surefire playoff contender. And you just hope that there aren't more injuries like that season. But I'm getting that kind of vibe from this team because they just keep finding ways with key guys out of the lineup.
Yeah, and they're not blowing teams out of the water, Jack. Like you look at November, OT lost to Montreal, OT lost to Boston, OT win up against Philly. You get a 4-2 win, so more than 1 goal up against Utah. OT lost to Dallas, 5-3 win up against Boston. So there's your 2 goals. 1-0 loss, 3-2 win, 3-2 win. Like, sure, it might not be dominant performances where they're getting puck line wins and they're scoring and they're just absolutely controlling everything, but they're finding ways to win. And if they're not finding ways to win, more often than not, they're finding ways to get points, which in this Eastern Conference and with the Atlantic Division the way it is now, that's absolutely huge. So I love to see it here. And it's massive for the Ottawa Senators so far in November.
Pilsy, I know that you've got some thoughts on this, and I kind of agree with you, but I just want to talk about it quickly here at the end. Just the reports swirling that the Sens are in on every big name, or they want to be in on everything. What do you think about that? Because to me, like, it's such a half. I could see both sides so easily. Like if you throw a guy on one of those top lines on the wing, on left wing, let's say, like I know what Elliot Friedman was talking about, Andrei Svechnikov.
Yeah,
like just that would take a haul. Obviously, that's fantasy land, but imagine that guy on the wing on this team. Like, where are you at with that? Because I know you mentioned you had some good points earlier this week just about not messing with the feng shui, if you want to say. So where are you at with that right now, just watching this team rattle off 2 impressive wins? Yeah,
it's definitely a hot topic. And Elliot Friedman said the Ottawa Senators are looking for a home run type trade. So like,
I think he said they're lurking. The Senators are lurking. I loved that.
Yeah,
that's what he wrote.
That's what you want. You want to be lurking. Yeah, so that makes me think they're either going for a top 6 winger or a top 4 defenseman. Like that, those are home run plays in my opinion. Look, I want to make it clear, I'm always down to add good players to this team. Like, I think some people look at my arguments and they're like, Pilsy, like, we got to add more. We're in our window. Why wouldn't you want to add? Of course, I would love to add an impact player. However, I don't think this team is desperate to do it, A, and B, I just think we don't really have the assets to do it either. You don't have a first-round pick this year. You don't have a lot of prospects that you're willing to move. Like Ross and I have said, we're not trading Yak unless there's an absolutely incredible opportunity you can't pass up. We want to see what we got from Hensler. So then you're looking at guys like Montgomery, maybe Halliday, guys like that. Other than that, there's not a whole lot of value on the roster. Maybe you look at moving a player like Ridley Gregg. But I just don't think there's a lot of valuable assets that other teams would look for. And I just think maybe sometimes Sens fans underestimate what it's going to cost to get an impact player, especially one with term. And then if you don't get it with term, I just got a little PTSD from what the Sens have done in the past. Alex DeBrincat, we thought we were all cozy and warm with him being an RFA. Didn't work out. Chychrun had a couple years on his deal. We thought that was going to work out. That didn't work out. Now, I'm not saying it can never work out, but we're in a great spot here. Brady Tkachuk's going to come back. Like I mentioned, I expect Fabian Zetterland to heat up. The goaltending is going to get better. The PK is going to get better. And this group seems like they mesh so well, and everybody knows their role and is able to play with it. I know some Sens fans haven't been pleased with Travis Green, but I think he's doing a good job. I don't think this team needs to add an impact player. Now, would I love it if they did? Sure, depending on the cost, but I don't see that desperation. And at the very least, let's wait and see until closer to trade deadline, closer to Olympic break before making a big move. That's just my take.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I think it'll be at that time of the year or whenever it's right. I think just you look at the track record now of Steve Staios. He's been almost to the day 2 years now as the GM of the team. I think a bit over 2 years after he took over for Dorion. Like the difference and what move has Steve Staios made where you're kind of scratching your head so far? It's if anything, it's the Jensen and Chychrun one, but even that made so much sense, right?
Yeah, and he didn't. I don't think there was a lot of options for trading Chychrun. I think he did the best with what he could, honestly.
But they analyzed that Chabot needed a partner. Yep. And by the way, I thought those two were great tonight. I thought Jensen was great. I thought he had a great game. Should mention also Chabot. Hopefully he's okay. That was a weird play at the end there.
Yeah,
looked like he
especially
was on the
a non-contact one. That's not
non-contact injuries. That's a football thing there. That's a bad thing. And he looked like he was all right at the end. So we'll see. But anyway, yeah, I'm the same way, Pilsy. Like I think just ride this, but also you don't want to make a trade to fix a problem you think you have. I know they kind of did it with Dennis Gilbert. He hasn't really played yet. Just to add some depth. They made a couple, the McDermott for McEwen trade.
Yeah, and those trades are fine because you're trying to upgrade on the need you have with getting rid of a player that isn't really filling that need anymore in McEwen or Gannett. So those are the types of move I'm okay with.
I think post-Olympics, I think you're right because, again, we'll see where things are at. Call me naive, call me Sens brain here. I don't see this being unsustainable the way they're playing right now. Yeah. We'll see, but I think that around after the Olympics, you'll see where the league's at, where other teams are at, what the market is, because it might be you need a prospect to go get a guy, but maybe that Buffalo second rounder has more value than we think. You never know what the market's going to look like. Basically, might be 33rd overall. Some people are saying, but my point is long-winded point. I trust whatever the staff is going to do. Like I trust that Staios, if they don't do anything, I'm not going to sit there and say, they should have done something. Why didn't they? Because I'm trusting that there's no market out there. I think he's earned the benefit of the doubt to this point, at least. But also you got to address your team for the playoffs. Like we got to start thinking about that too. What was weak last year in the playoffs? What can they improve on this year? What have they improved on? And I think for the most part that they're a much better team already than they were last year. I think it's pretty safe to say. So that's kind of just what I wanted to end on. Fun little big picture talk there at the end of a postcast for us, a vibecast. Usually those are the dark ones we have, Pilsy. I'm used to seeing the panic button with the two of us. That's not even close.
Yeah,
it doesn't even exist.
Not at all. And the Ottawa Senators are going to ride a 2-game win streak in California. Now, the team that last beat the Ottawa Senators was the LA Kings, and that's who they play next on Monday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Bit of a weird one. That one's going to be on Amazon Prime. Always love those broadcasts, so make sure you don't miss that one. Get the coffee going. I know it's not the 10 p.m., but it's still a bit of a late one, and we're fired up for that. We're going to have another episode of Locked On Senators podcast on Monday. Ross is going to give his thoughts. He's been following along as well, and also, shout out Ferg Murdoch 3123. Thank you. Appreciate you. And we appreciate everyone that's here in the chat. 400 people for pretty much this entire time. That's what we love to see. Sens fans coming together. We want to thank AJ, our boots on the ground report. Absolute beauty. He loves seeing Zetterland score in that building, getting some shawarma, enjoying himself after that dub. And you should too. And the best place to enjoy it is at the Glebe Central Pub, our favorite sponsor. And check out FanDuel, Monarch as well. So, guys, Jack and I don't get to do this very often, so we got big smiles on our faces for this Vivecast. The 3-2 win up against the first the Anaheim Ducks, now this time the San Jose Sharks. So we're happy for everyone that got to enjoy this with us. Keep it going in the chat. Give us some go Sens go. And now, as DJ Smith would say, hit the music, flutes. It's the Locked On Senators podcast, your team every day.